Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. This is Tina, Certified Master Life Coach. I'm here today on my weekly marriage coaching call where I try to provide you with tools and tips and inspiration for creating the marriage that you want to have. And I use inspiration from my own life, also my life coach training, and years of reading marriage books and trying just to understand things to better help people. So I'm excited to share with you our topic for today. It's called Why It's So Important to Tell Your Husband That You Like Him, right? We tell him we love him a lot, and we've talked about how we should tell him that we respect him, but we also need to tell him that we like him. Before we get started, I want you to know that I have a free private Happy Wife community on Facebook where you can come to get inspiration for your marriage. You can find it at facebook.com/groups/The Happy Wives Community. You can also visit my website, tinaheisman.com, for a banner to the Happy Wives Community. It'll take you right there. Also, I have created a free download. It's called a Marriage Makeover Guide, and it's a guide to help you make over your marriage into a happier, more joyful, peaceful place. It will take you through step by step, maybe some problem solving on some issues that might be bothering you in your marriage. So head on over to my website and download it if you are interested. Okay, ladies. Today's topic is why it's so important to tell your husband that you like him. So once again, we're going to one of my favorite marriage researchers and authors. This is Shaunti Feldhahn in her book, For Women Only. She tells us that the deepest worry inside our husband is, do I measure up? Am I any good at what I do? Where you as a woman want to be loved, you want to know if you're lovable, your husband wants to know if he's good enough, okay? And do we like what they do? So on a survey that Shaunti conducted, 76% of men said that they're not always as confident as they look. So what this means is that rough exterior that we see on the outside has a deeply sensitive guy hidden underneath it. And so you might not know that your husband needs to hear that you like him, that you think he's a good guy, that you respect him. You might not know that because it doesn't seem like it from how they act on the outside. But the truth is, they need to hear our words of affirmation that tell them that they're good enough. They need to hear that we're proud of them and the work that they do. They need to hear that we appreciate their effort around the house and with the kids. They need to know that we're pleased with them. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure for the longest time in my marriage, there was a lot more of me expressing frustrations or things that my husband could do better than all of the things that I liked seeing him do. And so it's not that I wasn't ever thinking I didn't like what he was doing. It's just that those words did not come out of my mouth. And our husbands aren't mind readers. We know that, right? How many million times have we heard that? So we really do need to tell them. And, you know, when I'm speaking in moms groups, I often get the question, well, shouldn't my husband just know? You know, shouldn't he just know that I think he's a great guy? Why do I have to tell him? Well, I mean, he might know, maybe deep down, but he really needs to hear you say it. He really does. And if you think about it, remembering how much that you want to hear I love you from your husband, that's how much he wants to hear from you that you admire him, that you like him, that you think he's a good guy. It's interesting. This came to me in my prayer time maybe a week or two ago. It just came to me in my prayer time. And I always keep sticky notes with me when I'm praying because things come to my mind, like maybe to distract me from talking with God sometimes, like, oh, I got to remember to call so-and-so today. And so I keep sticky notes next to me so I can jot that down and let it go and go back to my focused prayer time. But an interesting thought that came up to me this week or last week was, tell your husband you like the person he is. And so I wrote him a sticky note. I like the person that you are, because I do. I really do. And I'm so grateful for him. You guys know what? The way I presented it to him was very informal. Just that morning as we were all coming down to the kitchen, I had, I stuck the note on the counter in front of him, and I said, this came to me in my prayer time today. I just really like the person that you are. I really like who you are. And he was like, oh, that's so nice. And so the next thing I knew, that sticky note was on the nightstand next to his bed, and then it disappeared. And I thought, oh, I wonder what he did with it. So don't tell him this, but I just looked in his top dresser drawer, and there it was, tucked in the corner of his top dresser drawer. And I thought, wow, it meant something to him. He's keeping it. How awesome is that? It's something that I have thought plenty of times before, but just maybe taking the time to say it in that way was really powerful. And so I want to share that with you guys, because our husbands really, they thrive better when they know that. And if you think about it, our husbands leave home every morning and go out into the world to work, to slay their dragons and do their thing and work their magic. And, they're at battle all day long out in the work world for us, for our families, to earn a living for us. And then they come home. And in our old marriage way before, instead of remembering to use my words to build him up, I would often use my words to tear him down. I didn't know I was doing it. I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I just was vocalizing far more often the things that were not right, And so what I've learned in our new marriage is that when we communicate our admiration in our husband, that we build them up, and it makes them feel really great. And you know what, girls? That's good. I think that's what God is calling us to do, of course, to use our words to build people up. But I want you to know there is something in it for you, too. A happier husband makes for a happier wife, right? We women, what I have found is we go about solving our problems exactly the opposite of what actually works. And that's what I work with my clients on, because this constant nitpicking and telling them what we want them to do better actually does the reverse. It makes them do more of what we don't want. Have you ever noticed that in your marriage? So we want to work on helping them feel like they are amazing. We want to send them out into the world every day on top of the world, feeling so great. I had another chance to do this recently. There was one morning that my husband noticed a button was missing from the sleeve on his shirt for work. So he walked over and grabbed the sewing kit and was starting to work to get the needle ready and everything to sew it back on. And I was so impressed. Usually he would just leave the shirt, and then I would sew the button back on for him at another time. But he just went and started doing it by himself. And so I said, wow, here's a guy who sews on buttons, fixes broken things around the house, remodels rooms in the house, and even cooks meals. He's just a jack of all trades. And I was serious about this compliment, because he had recently just finished remodeling our family room. And I don't remember what was recently fixed, but there's always something being fixed in a house, as you know. So, I really paid him that compliment, and he smiled. And as he finished, his shirt and put it on, he said, yeah, and I even put on business clothes and work in an office from 9 to 5 every day, like a professional. And that was so funny. And my daughter happened to be sitting in the room on our bed, and I looked at her and I said, you need to find a man like this when it's time for you to look for a husband. And she was like, yeah. And I really mean that too. I wanted someone just like my husband who can do almost anything, and he can. He's not afraid to sew buttons on shirts and tackle remodeling jobs in the house. So sharing that with him, sent him out into the world that day with a full love tank. And isn't that what we want, to fill up our husband's love tank? Okay, so here's something else in the story that I want you to hear. This is important because at the same time this little conversation is going on, there is a pile of his clothes hanging over the end of the bed, and there's 2 pairs of shoes on the floor right next to it. There's socks. There's more clothes on the ground right next to the bed. So these are things that are not my preference and things that caused us fights, stupid fights, obviously, early in our marriage, where I would want everything perfect and it would really cause fights earlier in our marriage. So I want to bring this up to you because I didn't mention the pile of clothes on the floor and on the end of the bed. I was only focusing on behavior and attitudes of him that I love. And I want you to know that this is, we're talking now about affirmation of his character and who he is. It's different than gratitude, which is also extremely important, gratitude, thanking them for what they do. But this affirmation is affirming them for who they are, and they desperately need that. And I'm here to tell you, if you will try to focus less on those behaviors and character flaws that you don't like, focus more on what you do like, you will notice more of what you do like, and you will help him deliver more of that. You will help him want to be more of that. But when we bring to their attention their faults and their failures, it's weird, but it makes them act more like that. It's like a rebellion thing, like a childish internal rebellion thing, but that's the way they are. And you know what, ladies? That's not a character flaw either. That's the way God made them. And so when we can learn how to better love them and bring out the best in them, it's better for all of us. And remembering, we want to use our words to speak volumes to our husband, to build them up, right? Instead of criticizing them, because criticizing them tears them down. So if you have a complaint of your husband, look for a compliment instead. Ignore those things that bug you. And unless it's like something big and huge, and we can talk about how to handle that later. Actually, my marriage makeover guide will help you with that on my website. But just know that complaining tears your husband down, and it makes him feel less than, like he's not good enough. But if you compliment him, it makes him feel amazing, and he'll just want to continue to do good and to please you. So I'm just here to encourage you today to reduce your negative communication and add in more positive communication, and try to affirm him for who he is. Look for those qualities that you like. Try to remember when you fell in love with him. What were those qualities that you liked? If you'll do this, you are going to notice more happiness in your marriage, more love in your marriage, more fun, more joy. It just feels so much better, so much more laid back. This is truly a secret here to a happy marriage, because it's the opposite of what we normally think to do. And I would love to offer you a challenge. Would you consider for just 1 week, just say 5 days even, for 5 days, look for at least one phrase of affirmation that you can deliver to your husband every single day, and then withhold all complaints for those 5 days. You can write them in your journal or wherever you might write that, so you won't forget about it, because I know that's part of what bugs you. If you're anything like me, you want to nip it in the bud. You want to talk about it, and you want to get it taken care of. But for this 5-day trial period, just take your complaints to your journal. Keep them there for now. Maybe download my Marriage Makeover Guide, show you how to handle those better. And then speak affirmation to him every day, at least once a day, for his character and who he is. And you're always welcome to sprinkle in gratitude, of course. So let me know how this goes. If you need any help, I would really love to help you. Please reach out to me. Again, remember, I've mentioned a couple times, my Marriage Makeover Guide will help you if you've got some things that you want to talk to him about constructively. That guide will help you with that. So you can head over to my website, tinaheisman.com, to download your copy for free. Also, don't forget about the Happy Wives community on Facebook. We would love to see you in there. And finally, I offer one-on-one marriage coaching for women only. I specialize in women, teaching us how to be the best version of ourselves, how to bring our best into our marriage, and how also that helps our husbands deliver their best to us. And so that's a good place for all of us to be. Well, I thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you will join me next week. Have a fantastic day.